you know what? Trying is better than doing nothing. I always
Exactly.
say that's the motto of Too Much Energon.
Trying is better than nothing, much like this podcast.
Too much Energon.
Hooray! You're Silverbolt.
These upgrades come with a warranty.
Blah 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 blah. Beast Wars once and for all.
Cheetor, what have you done?
I am giving this episode no Energon.
What are you, a Quintesson?
This is no Energon. Fuck it. I can't.
Sigma balls, Garry. No, not that.
Greetings, hate plaguers. Welcome to episode 74 of Too Much Energon, the weekly podcast where we talk about Beast Wars shit and talk shit about Beast Wars. I'm the Siege, one of your hosts, coming to you live from a mysterious floating mountain somewhere on planet Energon, and I am joined by my illustrious co-host.
It's me, NeoCal. I'm on the Axelon.
You're on the Axelon.
Doing something in one of the CR chambers.
But what exactly are you doing in the CR chambers?
I happened to be in the CR chamber when the cosmic waves went out and made everyone friends metal.
Yeah. I was wondering.
Sucks to suck.
I was wondering if you were gonna go quantum surge on this motherfucker.
I missed out. I don't get a single trans metal, but this fucking cat gets two.
Right. Yeah, and look at Waspinator. Like he was in wasp form like all the way to the end of that show.
That's right. OG.
And now he's a badass biker dude.
He's truly living his best life.
Yeah. Speaking of missing out on things and living their best lives, we missed a week last week. There was no Too Much Energon last week. If anyone is listening to this in real time, and we actually know there are some people who are, apologies. I posted about this on social media, but we record this on Thursday nights. Thursday is my Friday at work. I work Sunday to Thursdays every week, and last week at my job we had inventory, and unfortunately because of supply chain issues, staffing issues, COVID protocols, anti-maskers, all that kind of nonsense, I wasn't actually able to do my inventory in the week leading up to the actual day. So I had to do basically an entire week's worth of work in one shift. So I worked over 12 hours, only taking 1 half-hour break. So by the end of it, I just... And then like I dealt with some like bullshit involving like an asshole bus driver who was a dick to me for like reasons that are still unknown to me. But if you want to hear the story about that, it's on one of the Patreon preambles from last week. But yeah, I didn't have it in me to record last week, so we decided, you know what, we're just gonna call it and come back better than ever. And here we are.
Anybody this far in with us is going to be like, the only thing keeping me listening was that it was on every week. I'm finally free. 73 episodes.
Well, we had a good run,
Yeah.
We actually have been pretty consistent with this show for the most part. Like we've only missed like a couple of weeks. We had a brief hiatus in the lead up to Christmas last year. Like I think there was like 3
Standard
weeks
holiday stuff, yeah.
Well, and like it was we had just finished season 1 of Beast Machines, and then I had ideas for holiday episodes, so I'm like, let's delay new episodes of the show for like 3 weeks. I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks.
It was planned well, I think.
So we're not like doing holiday episodes in the middle of like Beast Machines and yada yada yada. But for the most part, like we've been pretty on schedule for 74 episodes of this shit. And if you've been here with us since the beginning, or even not, if you've been here with us since, well, the last episode,
right now,
right now, if you're just discovering us now, thank you for joining along with us. So I've got I have a hell of a amount of swag to share. Not only the listeners, but also you, Cal. Like some of the cool shit that I've acquired. Most of it I got today, but
okay, you've been saving.
First and foremost, and audio listeners, if you're curious, if you want to actually see, as always, there's a link to the video version of this podcast in the description. Go and check it out. Watch the video version, because I'm going to be showing off a lot of things in this episode. So just be warned. So I got my Golden Disc Collection Mutant Tigatron, which is an Amazon USA exclusive. We're in Canada.
And this
folks.
Tigatron is a Bengal tiger.
This Tigatron is a Bengal tiger, and his face is based on the mutant head gimmick from the first wave of Beast Wars toys. All the deluxe and up figures had mutant heads.
Looks badass though.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Battle ready.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, the storyline of the Golden Disc Collection is it actually deals with the Quantum Surge. Apparently the Quantum Surge also created like a bunch of alternate realities, and in this reality Pterosaur rose from the flaming lava with like fire powers.
No shit.
And Tigatron got mutated, and Tigatron like lost all his memories, and him and Pterosaur team up and become like evil and try and rule the universe with evil together.
I like that. That's a good synopsis. And try to rule the universe with evil together.
So that figure is pretty hype. He's an Amazon USA exclusive, so us being in Canada, I actually had to buy it off of the Amazon US website, not Amazon.ca.
Right, and he traveled the globe.
he had a glorious trek across North America. See, we're in British Columbia, Victoria, British Columbia, and he departed from an Amazon distribution center in Oregon, which is like 2 states below us. I'm sure I think I talked about this a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
But whatever. I'll talk about it again. Now you would think that this figure would just go from like say Oregon to like somewhere in Washington, like say Seattle or Tacoma, and then to Vancouver, Richmond, and then to Victoria, where we are. No. This guy went from Oregon to New Jersey, which is on the other side of the fucking country.
The other side of the continent, yes.
Other side of the continent, yeah. To Jersey, then New York, then Toronto, then Richmond, British Columbia, and then Victoria.
I have a theory.
Okay.
It traveled around, delivering it to all the Americans that ordered it, and then in a mix of a whole bunch of other stuff, they got a big like truck or whatever, and then when they went across, it's better to go across with a ton of goods rather than pay what's the word I'm looking for, pay not tariffs, duty fees, thank you, rather than individually, because it's the the shipping companies that have to pay that. So getting it from the person that's already bought it is basically impossible. So they probably waited until it was a giant like kind of Canadian merch truck that they could put it with, and then shipped it across the border. Maybe I'm just full of shit.
Well, my boy Pterosaur, who is also part of the Golden Disc collection, is making the exact same journey. I'm expecting him to actually show up tomorrow at the time of recording. I mentioned we record this show on Thursdays, so tomorrow is Friday. I'm kind of expecting him to show. I'm kind of expecting him to show up tomorrow.
He almost made the today's haul.
Yeah, almost made today's haul. So, other than Mutant Head Tigatron, so something I got yesterday in the mail from my lovely girlfriend, Lady Glitch, from the another podcast we do, Alphanumeric. I got Cyberverse Cheetor.
Cyberverse Cheetor. There he is, folks.
I've never. He is the only Cyberverse figure that I own, and I only wanted him because he is Cheetor.
You have a Cheetor collection kind of going on there.
I have a Cheetor collection going, and speaking of Cheetor, so
He looks cool.
Yeah, he's a dope figure. I'm really
It's unique looking. Yeah.
I'd been looking for him for months, and then she ended up actually finding one. Listeners, you might be aware she lives in Georgia, so she's quite far from us. But she ended up finding him in her neck of the woods, and I am eternally grateful. He's in beast mode right now, but
he's in beast mode. He's got some sort of wings or flames coming out of his shoulders.
They are.
You can see his brains. I dig it.
Yeah, he's got like a battle mask. He's got like Wolverine style claws. He's dope. So thank you, Christina. I'm sure you're listening. Speaking of Cheetor, from Beast Machines.
How many Okay.
Night Slash Cheetor.
No way.
This guy is actually a really cool figure. He looks nothing like Cheetor in the show. At least his deco, because like he's like a navy. This figure is like a navy blue, and
with like a translucent orange highlights.
Yeah, like a chest plate of sorts that actually opens up, which I assume has to do with transforming him. I haven't put him into beast mode yet, but I got this at Cherry Bomb Toys, local toy store.
Ninja like. I dig it.
So shout out to them.
It's a good color combo.
His arms are kind of weird. They don't have like a ton of articulation to them. They can kind of only go front and back.
Well, he does a lot of that, you know? He does a lot of like this weird slicey motion.
Fruit Ninja stuff. He does it in this fucking episode that we're
in this episode about. More so than any other. He Fruit Ninjas.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is a dope figure. I really like him.
I'm fond of that one. His face is like
Yeah, his head is actually like not the color scheme, but like his head and his face. It's kind of hard to see on a blurry webcam.
Yeah.
But it's actually pretty close to the show.
Mm-hmm. No, I dig it. It's kind of like if Megatron used in Beast Wars his like the machine. Oh, there you go. Wow, that focused in.
I just got to make sure it obstructs my face so the webcam focuses on it. And
Megatron's Predacon machine when in Dark Designs.
Oh yeah, the thing that he spent an entire Saturday afternoon constructing.
Multiple cycles. But if he grabbed Beast Machine's Cheetor instead of Rhinox.
Yeah, there you go. I dig it. Another thing that I bought.
Another one. What have we got here? Holy shit.
This is Transformers Universe Silverbolt. So this is a redeco of the original Fusor Silverbolt toy. Very show accurate. Other than the color scheme, but this thing was $80 Canadian. And I'd seen it at Cherry Bomb for a long time. And I had been hesitating, but the reason why that I kind of wanted this was because I used to have this toy. This toy came out in 2003. So I was already like 18 years old. Like I was out of like I was beyond like buying toys to play with them, but like I was in like a brief phase around that time. Like I was buying Transformers Armada, and like I saw this guy at Toys R Us back in 2003 for like $20 or something like that. And I'm like, oh, hey, Silverbolt. Cool. Never had him when I was younger. Thinking back now, and I was thinking about this earlier, like the time frame difference between like when I was a kid playing with Beast Wars toys to like when I was 18 buying this, like in hindsight, I'm like, wow, that was only like like
5,
6
6.
years.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, wow, that actually wasn't that long of a period of time, but at the time it felt like I was a new man. Yes. But yeah,
The
so
quality on that is pretty hype.
and
But
that his joints are incredibly stiff because I transformed him earlier. In fact, I'll do it on camera here
is
too.
that good or bad? I
It's
would
good.
presume that's good because it means you would be able to pose him better.
It's good because what it means is he hasn't been played with much. So this guy was owned by a collector, like 100%.
Yeah, and it probably stayed transformed, sitting in one place for years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Oh, there we go. Oh, actually, it's fast to transform him. What the heck?
Yeah, and he's
That
like
is the fastest, the fastest transformer in the West.
And like I mentioned, he is incredibly show accurate. If you recall Silverbolt from
I do.
from Beast Wars. Obviously the color scheme is different, but like the actual mold of the figure is very, very show accurate.
Yeah, like very. Yeah, it looks like it transforms the same way he does.
Yeah, totally. But yeah, so I had this guy back in the day, and I couldn't believe, and I'm pretty sure I sold this thing on eBay like in like 2013 or something like that for like $20 when I was just getting rid of shit.
So that could be yours.
But yeah, I wanted to seeing this version in particular, like the original, like I probably wouldn't have been willing to pay
The one you had.
but yeah, the one I had, because nostalgia is a powerful thing. And isn't that why we're here doing a podcast about a 25-year-old cartoon?
About Beast Machines, a show that I never watched when it was on air.
Another thing that Christina got me, I'm going to have to turn my noise cancellation off for this for a minute.
Oh, here it comes.
Here we have on David K, voice of Megatron. On his official website, he has a Megatron button with it's a purple button with a Predacon symbol that says yes. And on the back, he actually signed it personally with a Sharpie, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it looks like gold or copper, like permanent Sharpie.
Yeah.
Rad.
And even on the envelope today, he it was written out by hand, and it was like sender name Dave, and written out by hand David K. And it had like his address, so I'm like, oh, David K is like literally just like selling these out of his condo.
Rad.
What
a champ.
So you press the button and
Yes.
And again.
What a pleasant surprise.
And again.
Where is my rubber ducky?
Oh, so he's added his own.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
And
yes.
Oh, multiple yeses.
Classic.
I appreciate it.
Side guns.
Side guns.
No.
There's a no in there.
Yeah.
Terrorize.
Of course.
Has to.
Yes.
That's my favorite.
I think that might be all of them, but
Excellent.
oh no,
there's an excellent in there.
Yes.
And another yes.
I was
What a
expecting.
pleasant surprise.
Okay, now we've looped around.
I was expecting like 3.
Yeah,
there's a variety in there. I dig it.
I remember. I can't even remember how I stumbled across it, but like maybe like 3 weeks ago, I saw online that David K had these for sale on his website, and I posted on the Lasercomb Discord. I'm like, I have never wanted anything more in my life than I want this.
I remember that. You said that.
Yep. And bless her, Christina bought it for me. I had no idea that she got it for me until a couple of days ago when she mentioned like, "Oh, hey, has your Megatron button arrived yet?" And I'm like, "Wait, what?" She's like, "Oh, I
Well,
got you one."
surprise.
I'm like, "Oh, well, news to me. Cool, thank you." And then it arrived like a couple days later. And now for the main event of
What a gem, Lady Glitch.
what a gem indeed. She's a real fox, you know.
I haven't mentioned this yet, but I noticed that you're wearing a hoodie. Speaking of, sorry, go ahead.
She did not get this for me.
She did not get that for you, but we're on this nostalgia things that we used to own wave right now. So I feel like
okay, I'll tell the story of this hoodie. So a decade ago, so 2012, this hoodie I'm wearing is the band Amon Amarth. It has like a image of Thor on a throne on the back of it. This was my favorite hoodie. And Amon Amarth is my favorite band. I've been listening to them for nearly 20 years now. They actually just released a new single yesterday or the day before. I listened to it today. It's actually pretty meh. And I'm like, oh, well, whatever. They're getting old.
what are you gonna do?
Yeah, what are you gonna do? They're most bands start to their quality starts to decline as they age. It just happens.
But yes, something happened to your OG hoodie,
Yes.
if I recall.
Yes. So my my original of this hoodie that I got back in like 2012. My ex-wife took it in the divorce, and I say in the divorce, but like when we parted ways, she like basically moved out while I was at work one day.
In the Exodus.
In the Exodus, yes.
Yeah.
Not even throwing shade at her now. Like I've been in contact with her in recent months over actually like finalizing our divorce, and like we've been civil, and I wish her no ill will.
Yeah.
Only the best. Yeah.
But she took it, damn it.
But she took my hoodie, and insult to injury was the original version of this hoodie had a N7 patch from the Mass Effect 3 collector's edition that I had sewn by hand onto the left arm. So I got to get another one of those to really like recreate the effect. But speaking of X's, a person that I a long-term relationship that came to an end in recent months. She, and I was talking about this with my therapist the other day, actually. Like, it feels weird to call her an ex because, like, one, like we still get along great. Hell, we still live together for the moment. And I don't know. It feels like weirdly like dismissive and reductive for someone that for all accounts I'm still quite good friends with.
I know what you mean. It's like
there's like kind of this like ickiness to
the word
to the word. Yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of just like boundaries have changed.
Yeah, the relationship is just the dynamics of the relationship have just changed.
And X has like heavy implications.
Yeah.
Like, oh, an X, someone that like you're not supposed to like, and that like only does you bad, and they take your hoodie in the divorce.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is, and this is a partner you've been with a long time.
7 years, just shy of 7 years. Yeah, like we split up like I think like a week or two.
Longer than your ex-wife.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
more than twice as long.
So the ex-wife stole that hoodie, and then your ex-partner got it back, baby.
Yeah. So she
One of
scoured
those
the
people is cooler than the others.
so she scoured the internet as like a and as she put it, she was like, I feel like like all of your like major exes have like taken things from you, and I wanted to give something back as we like parted ways. Yeah, it's very sweet.
Shout out.
Yeah, shout out to Krista. She's a wonderful person.
Hundo.
But
yeah.
But yeah, she scoured the internet and found me another one of these. And these things, like, they haven't been like I said, I got the original one that I had a decade ago. They haven't been
I'm a
making
little
these hoodies.
surprised. Like, that looks unworn.
No, it is. It was brand new. She got it off of someone from on eBay from like Poland.
Interesting. Do you think like somebody recreated it, or do you think somebody just kind of had it folded up in a
Yeah, it was
in a box somewhere?
It was still like it was still like in like a plastic wrap. So
somebody just probably had a few of them, or found them in their uncle's attic or something like that, and they're like, oh shit, look at these.
Yeah, it's someone who used to be someone who was like a roadie or something.
Oh, there you go. And they had a few extras, and then they were doing a yard sale or whatever, and they're like, whoa, what are these?
Yeah.
Well, rad.
Yeah, it's great. I've been wearing this hoodie constantly since she gave it to me. And when she gave it to me too, I was like, oh, well, thank you. Like, I really appreciate that. And then I messaged her on Discord the next day while I was at work. I'm like, I really don't feel like I sold it well enough, but like, sincerely, thank you. This is literally my new favorite thing. And indeed, I've been wearing this hoodie like constantly. Like, I've even been on other podcasts that we've done.
I want, since we're on this, hey, this thing I used to have, like this little preempt to the episode, this little, hey, I used to have this and I found it again and I had to get it. And I'm like, well, we have to talk about the Amon Marth hoodie, right?
Right, yeah. Well, thank you for bringing that up, because it didn't even occur to me to mention it, because I've just been talking about Transformers.
It sounds like, other than the design that you like, when something's a design that you like and it also fits well and is comfortable, like it becomes
this
like
hoodie,
an iconic
this hoodie is
piece of
insanely,
attire.
This hoodie is insanely comfortable. And it's funny too, because like I had just shared on Facebook a couple of weeks ago, like maybe a week before I actually got this. It was Facebook memories on this day. It was 10 years ago today. It was a picture of me with my back toward the camera, like wearing the hoodie that I just got, saying like my badass new Amon Amarth hoodie.
10 years today?
Not today, but like when I shared it, this was a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, when you shared that, right?
Yeah, it was the it was the Facebook like on this day type thing. But I had shared it being like, man, I miss this hoodie. And then like a week later, like Krista surprises me with this.
10 out of 10.
Yeah. 11 out of 10.
11 out of 10. How old is Amon Amarth?
They released their first album in 1998.
Amon Amarth.
But they were founded, I believe, in 1993 under the name Scum, which they released no music under.
Oh, yeah, there we go. Wow, 92 to present.
Oh, 92. Yeah, I was close.
Okay, there.
Oh yeah,
they're getting up there in age.
They're
still rocking it though.
I've seen them live 4 times. I have met them. I have their DVD, Wrath of the Norsemen, that came out, I think, in 2006, 2005, 2006.
They look like they were in pretty good shape.
I got them to personally autograph it back in like 2007, and I still have it sitting on my shelf.
Nice.
Sweat damage and all, because I had it in my pocket in a mosh pit.
As is tradition, yeah.
in my back pocket because at the time I was wearing like those old like long like wide leg jeans that were like in fashion in the 2000s.
Oh yes, I know them well. So
Whatever, I liked them.
so I feel like you have like a grand unveiling.
I do. There
Shall we?
there's something, and listeners, I messaged Cal about this. I'm like, oh man.
I don't even know what he's talking about.
No, he doesn't. I was like, I cannot wait to show you the absolute abomination that I purchased today.
My
So,
head's like spinning what that could possibly mean.
So I mentioned I was at Cherry Bomb Toys in Victoria, British Columbia earlier, and that's where I got the Night Slash Cheetor and the Universe Silverbolt from. And they were like, oh hey, you're the Beast Wars podcast guy, and you do
I'm
like
the Beast
Alpha
Wars guy. Yeah.
and you do like Alphanumeric, like the reboot show. I'm like, yeah, that's me. And I'm like, oh yeah, I got a thing for collecting Cheetors, and I have several of them. I how many Cheetors do I have now? I have 1, 2, 3, 4,
Five?
5, 6, 7, 8,
Eight?
9, 10. I have 10 Cheetors.
Jeez.
Um,
Oh right.
yeah. So 10 Cheetors.
That's a lot of Cheetos, man.
Oh, 11 actually, because I have one that I have a
The
broken.
wall.
No, I have a broken Beast Machines Cheetor.
Right.
It's missing the beast mode head. It'll probably get tossed when I move. But anyway, so they were like, "Hey, so we got this thing in the back, and we don't know what to do with it because like we just don't have the space for it." They're like, "Would you be interested?" And I'm like, "Well, what is it?" And they bring it out, and they show it to me, and I'm like, how much? And they're like, wait, seriously? And I'm like, well, maybe. How much? And they're like, $20. And I was like, you know what? Sold. I'll take it. And they're like, really? I'm like, yeah, I'll take it.
We were gonna give it to you.
And so this is what I walked out of Cherry Bomb Toys. And audio listeners, I implore you, please go to the video version. Link in the description, just to see this absolute abomination that I purchased. This monstrosity.
What am I beholding here?
This is a supreme.
So if you're
This
listening
is
to it,
this is a supreme class Beast Machines Cheetor.
so his mouth moves, audio listeners.
His mouth moves, audio listeners.
And he just
And
mimed.
I was lip syncing to what I'm saying right now.
Oh my god.
This thing is as tall as my computer tower, dude.
Okay, so that's like 2 feet tall.
Pretty damn close. Like
Maybe 18
about,
inches.
maybe 18, 20 inches.
But like it's not really Beast Machines Cheetor.
I mean, it's closer to what he looks like in the show than say Night Slash Cheetor.
Yeah. What the ungodly.
Look at them titties.
Look at that mighty chest. It reminds me of like that meme with like the girl like nervously looking over it like the dude's chest.
Or like the Rob Liefeld Captain America.
Yeah.
The very infamous Captain America cover. Which they 100% referenced with that show the Falcon and the Winter Soldier on Disney Plus, there's a shot of Anthony Mackie of Captain America with the shield in that exact pose, and like I posted
Wow.
a side by side thing on Instagram, and I'm like, I see what you're doing, Marvel. But yes, look at this ungodly abomination of a transformer.
I like how you're like $20 and they're like, seriously? And you didn't go 10?
No, they said $20 and I didn't even hesitate. Like, just look at this fucking thing.
Amazing. Can it even stand on its own?
No.
Hey, big bot.
Yep,
The
that's
mouth moving is eerie. It's so eerie because
Look-
like his mouth fits so perfectly.
look at those teeth.
Yeah, he's got some chompers there.
Yeah.
Oh, his eyes open when you, dude, turn it around and look at it. His eyes are open when you
No, I
open the
know.
mouth.
I know. I noticed this earlier. I can also kind of see on camera.
What the wow, wild, man. Wild.
So the rest of this episode is going to be hosted by whatever this giant Cheetor figure is. So he's on video now. He is the one talking. I am merely the puppeteer.
I can tell that you're fairly good at that, so I can tell you've watched Being John Malkovich once or twice.
Yeah,
Amazing.
I actually wasn't doing too bad with the lip syncing there. Huh?
Mhm. Oh man, we should do an episode where we're using some sort of like VR like app or rig and try to find some sort of like robotic like Maximal or Predacon version of ourselves.
Well, we have face rig.
We have face rig, but if I recall, there's nothing really Transformers in it.
No, there isn't. We fucked around. I wonder if there are mods for it, maybe, because we fucked around with face rig quite a bit.
There are mods for it. They're also user created avatars that are free,
cool.
but also that people sell.
Oh, okay, cool. I didn't realize that.
Like
I'm
archives.
not surprised. But
Yeah. So
yeah.
you know what? There probably is a Megatron. There has to be. Yeah.
Maybe at least maybe GeeWun Megatron. Maybe not Beast Wars Megatron, but
We can dream.
dare to dream.
Certainly we can commission somebody to use Blender and make a Megatron
Right.
avatar for us.
Speaking of commissions, I really got to get on actually designing a Lasercomb logo. I think we're there at this point.
Yeah. Okay.
I had some ideas in my head that I'll bounce off of you. I'm not married to the ideas that I've come up with, so I'm going to be looking for input from you on this as well.
They don't pay me to be the ideas man for nothing. That's all I'm good for. No, I might have some ideas. I think we're better when we work together on those kind of things.
Well, I'm also like I'm good with things like structure, and like I can come up with ideas for shows and like how they're structured and things like that. But like when it comes to like coming up with like visual designs of things, like that's not necessarily my forte.
I know a little bit about like thumbnail and like visual marketing.
Right.
A little bit. Yeah, I've done a few things like that for funsies with my partner and other people. YouTube is a whole other beast though. Like the YouTube thumbnails, oh man, you better have red arrows and like circles and like big bold text in the thumbnails.
I like what I've been doing lately with the show arts.
Yeah.
For YouTube. I think that's good enough for what we do.
Well, we don't want to sell out and start labeling things like Beast Wars social experiment gone sexy. and then like have like cleavage or butt in the thumbnail with like red arrow pointing at something. We don't want to become those guys.
Or like polygon.com, because they announced recently that there's going to be a TV movie with like a bunch of the old like hosts of Blue's Clues like teaming up, and they're like, Blue's Clues is going the route of Spider-Man No Way Home. And it's like, fucking like team up. Like, Spider-Man No Way Home didn't invent that shit. Like, fucking
Man,
clickbait articles.
it just gets people. I like Spider-Mans.
Yeah,
Wait,
yeah.
this isn't about Spider-Mans. Spider-Man invent crossover.
Yeah.
Okay, that's enough for me.
Yeah. On another note, I would like to extend officially Too Much Energon heartfelt happy birthday to our man himself, Garry Primal, Garry Chalk. Today, at the time of recording, it is February 17th, 2022, which is our man Gary's 70th birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday to Garry Chalk.
So Garry, we know you're listening.
Yeah.
Happy birthday. And
happy birthday.
Thanks for all the episodes of Beast Wars and Beast Machines and Transformers Armada and Transformers Cybertron and Transformers Energon and other Transformers stuff he undoubtedly did. Also, Nick Fury, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., the Fox TV movie that starred David Hasselhoff.
Oh.
Garry Chalk played Dum Dum Duggan in that. I remember watching that shit on TV when it originally aired.
Huh.
He was also Colonel
I could see
Chekhov.
it.
He was also Colonel Chekhov in Stargate SG-1.
Excuse me.
And Mr. Garry Chalk has done like a million other things. So very prolific actor in his own right. And well, these shows wouldn't be the same without him. So happy birthday, dude.
Yeah. Happy birthday, Colonel Chekhov in SG-1. Really?
Yep. Yeah, he was a Russian colonel.
Oh,
he was part of the
Garry Chalk?
Yeah.
At the time, I didn't.
Oh yeah,
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, that was
cool.
I recognized him right away because Garry Chalk's voice like always resonated with me. Like anytime, even if I would see him in live action, I'm like, oh, that's Optimus Primal. I would just recognize his voice.
That's right. Yeah, because I watched SG-1, but I never realized. Wow.
Well, I was a very obsessed Beast Wars fan when I was 11, so taping episodes, rewatching them like 50 times over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, happy birthday to our favorite Primal.
Yeah, the best Primal, the only Primal.
The only Primal.
Yeah. If there is an Optimus Primal in a property and it doesn't have Garry, then
no dice,
no sale. Doesn't get it gets the no Energon rating automatically by default. Anyway, speaking of no Energon ratings, this is episode.
I got allergies going on there. Yes.
This is episode 74 of Too Much Energon, and this week we are talking about the 5th episode of season 2 of Beast Machines, A Wolf in the Fold. It originally aired on September 9th, 2000. What a day it was.
A Wolf in the Fold
A Wolf in the Fold, a title that has nothing to do with what's going on in the episode. And that kind of happened. Well, that's been happening lately with episodes of Beast Machines. We had Savage Noble was and Fallout and Savage Noble. Those were kind of on point. Yeah, Prometheus Unbound. In Darkest Night with a K. I didn't see Batman anywhere in that episode.
Wolf in the Fold implies that there's like a traitor or someone isn't as they seem,
But that's not really what's going on in this episode.
but it's not like that would imply that Silverbolt purposefully infected all of the other Maximals, which isn't the case.
Yeah.
They try. They try.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, did they?
I
Maybe?
We talked a lot about other stuff and that eats airtime, but this was the episode to talk about all that other stuff. Because it kind of feels like there's not a lot to say about the episode.
No,
Not
I was
to
thinking.
shit talk our own show, but like TLDR, there's a virus that makes them argue for 20 minutes.
Honestly,
There's
like
more to it than that, but
yeah.
Is it?
Honestly, we can actually like I'm down with blowing through this episode pretty quickly because I thought very little of it. So the episode opens with the Maximals
give each other
greetings
high fives over Silverbolt joining the crew again.
over Silverbolt coming back, and Cheetor is like, "Hell yeah, fuck yeah, all the old gangs back
The
together."
whole gang, all of us, every single one.
And immediately, even before like Garry Primal is like, ugh, I'm like, oh dude, what about our favorite beer drinking trucker?
Dinobot, Rhinox, Tigatron, Air Razor.
Tigerhawk, Depth Charge.
We don't talk about Tigerhawk. No, fuck Death Charge. But like, there's many missing from the crew, dog.
Transmutate.
You know what? Yeah, honorable mention to transmutate.
It was they were never part of the crew, but damn it, Silverbolt cared about them.
Yeah.
And so Cheetor realizes almost immediately that he fucked up because like Garry like hangs his head in sorrow, and he's like, "Oh, Big Bot, I'm sorry." And Garry Primal is like, "Oh, well, no, it's fine. We got to move on. You know, we got to move. We got to move forward."
Rhinox had made his choice, and now he's moved up. He's passed away, and it is what it is, dog. And then Megahead, tentacle, molests the planet.
So they pimp away, and Megahead starts sending out like tentacle dicks to the planet.
It's tentacle hentai, Cybertron edition.
So their tentacles, their tentacles, they kind of look like Doc Ock's arms.
Oh, very much so.
But they also, as they're coming down, they kind of look like dicks.
How do you really draw mechanical tentacles without them looking a little Doc Ock-ish and without them looking a little bit like dicks? But that being said, it feels like they could have made them look less so.
Less phallic, especially as they like jam themselves deep inside the planet.
And it cuts to like that cartoon, like, I don't know how to describe it, but in cartoons, whenever something's digging underground, it shows you like a bisection where you can witness the thing digging. And yeah, it shows the Cybertron does have dirt and like a core and like, sorry, a crust. So yes, there's a normal planet in there, which is
somewhere
neat. I mean, they had said that. They've explained that. There's fossils, there's plant life and stuff, but it's neat to actually see ground and soil and stuff.
Yeah. That's what the Oracle has been
that's what she's been trying to tell us the whole time.
Yeah. Rat Trap has a line later on that actually like cracked me the fuck up. There are a couple really good lines in this episode's kind of bunk in general, but like there are a couple really fucking good lines.
Beast Machines,
two in particular, two great
at
lines.
Least has great lines. Yeah.
I'll bring them up when we get there.
So what's the gist of the tentacle like takeover by Megahead here? He's infecting the planet.
it's pumping like something into the planet, and
You've been a naughty girl, Cybertron. Yes. Take it.
now bend over for daddy, and pretend, at least pretend to like it, or pretend to not like it. I like it more when you don't like it. Yes.
Oh man. Yeah.
Yeah,
I feel like that fits him.
Yeah, totally.
Not to what's it called? Not typecast, kink cast, but yeah, he seems like the type.
Ink cast, is that a thing?
I don't know, I just made it up.
Okay, well, it's a thing now, damn it.
Yeah.
It's someday if anyone decides to actually make a Too Much Energon wiki, like that'll be an entry.
There we go. Episode 74, kink cast.
Listeners, if any one of you want to make a Too Much Energon wiki, by all means, we'll love you forever. You'll get like free Patreon content.
There you go.
You'll get paid. You'll get all the Patreon content for free.
There you go. See, you get free worker bees by giving them free Patreon content.
Yeah.
I say as if that would actually work. But,
Yeah.
But what's going on
we'll
here?
see.
What's going on here? So the planet it has green waves going around it, but like the Maximals are running like scared animals, but like where are you going to run to?
Right.
And something, and it only affects Silverbolt, I don't know why, green energy vines wrap around him and like put like
so there are
like a thing on him.
So there are these like veins or something like on the planet, and Silverbolt just happens to step on one.
Yes.
And it infects him with something. It infects him with something that basically we've talked about the Matrix connection with this show. It infects him with something that puts a like something that looks like the Matrix, the plugs on the back of the necks of humans in the Matrix.
It's like a disc that like screws and like adheres itself onto his back.
It was very reminiscent of the jacking in plugs in the Matrix.
Yeah. But he's not going to Soundwave's virtual reality where he becomes a human.
No. No. Yeah.
That's a thing.
Listen to part 2 of the Too Much Energon holiday special, where we talk about the Transformers animated 2-part Christmas themed episodes, Human Error Part 1 and 2. Good show. I want to watch more of Transformers animated.
Actually, yeah.
But so,
and what does this do? He doesn't jack into the Matrix. He becomes grumpy.
This is something I actually want to talk about. So when it connected to the back of his neck and it started like making his eyes go, it put these red veins all over him and made his eyes go red. And I don't know what it was, but immediately I'm like, is this the hate plague from GeeWun? It was literally a thought in my head earlier when I was watching this.
Okay.
And then when one of them like when they start touching each other, when Silverbolt like touches someone, like the redness like spreads to them, and then their eyes go red, and then they all start acting aggro. I'm like, this has got to be the hate plague from GeeWun. So the hate plague, there was a 2-part episode of Transformers Generation 1. It was a season 3 episode, I think. It was called The Return of Optimus Prime, parts 1 and 2. I watched it a lot as a kid because I had a VHS tape of it. It
makes sense now.
Yeah, it was billed as like a direct to video. Like it was just 2 episodes of the cartoon, but it was the VHS case made it was like the sequel to Transformers the movie. Because, Optimus Prime dies in Transformers the movie. Spoilers.
This is where he comes back.
Spoilers for a 36-year-old movie. that if you're listening to this podcast, you undoubtedly have seen anyway.
We've done commentary.
Yeah, we did do a commentary track for
It
that.
was really fun.
Yeah, you can find that on Patreon. Patreon.com/lasercomb. It was originally part of the TME feed, but I wanted to quite a while ago. I wanted to really like clean up the too much Energon feed, so I got rid
Mhm.
of like ancillary stuff and just made it like episodes
Yeah.
of the show. But yeah, so this 2-part episode of the Transformers GeeWun, the Return of Optimus Prime, involved this hate plague spreading around like all across the earth, and it was unleashed by this. It was discovered by this scientist, I think his son and his daughter. And his daughter, of course, was sympathetic to the Autobots, but the scientist and his son like hated Transformers for whatever reason.
Right.
So they happen across a shuttle that has the body of Optimus Prime sitting in it for reasons that are not explained. It's like, okay, so when he died in Transformers the movie, the Autobots just put him sitting upright in the pilot's seat of a spaceship and just sent him adrift.
Oh, kind of like a Viking funeral.
No, not like a Viking funeral, because like
They don't
like
sit the person up in the,
he's sitting in the pilot's seat, like he's like right in the cockpit, just sitting there dead. I guess. I don't know. Listeners, if there is an episode of GeeWun that explains how Optimus Prime ends up in that ship in the beginning of that episode, let me know, because I have no idea. It seems really dumb to me. But I watched the shit out of this 2-parter because I had it on VHS as a kid. Anyway, so they discover the body of Optimus Prime. This is now a GeeWun podcast, apparently. They discover the body of, well, maybe someday. They discover the body of Optimus Prime, and the scientist guy and his son decide to infect the dead body of Optimus Prime with this hate plague that they find. I think they found it in the sun or something.
It's where the source of all hate.
Yep. And life. So life is hatred.
Yeah.
I guess. I mean, it kind of is, but
There you go.
But anyway, so they decide to infect the dead body of Optimus Prime with this hate plague and send it back and send it out. And I think they activated a distress signal, so the Autobots would come and find it.
Find them.
Yeah, listeners, I'm going from memory. I haven't watched this shit in like since the 90s. I haven't watched.
What's the gist of that? Not only do they manage to bring him back, but there's also
So they find his body, and because his body is infected with this plague, it starts spreading around. They figure out a way to bring him back. If I recall correctly, Skylynx, who was a character we actually saw in War for Cybertron Earthrise. He was that like,
was wild.
Yeah, he was that like guy. He was that Transformer who was a space shuttle, but also like kind of a dinosaur. He had like the long neck.
His design.
Yeah. It was the design is like completely 1-to-1 what his design was in GeeWun. So like I think if I recall correctly, Skylynx goes and kidnaps a Quintesson and brings him back to Earth to rebuild Optimus Prime, and then they like pour like I don't know, glowing light into him or something, and he wakes up. And
seems legit. Pour glowing light in people and it revives them.
Yeah, see, it seems legit. And then they spray Optimus Prime with this coating to make him immune to the hate plague, and then he retrieves the Matrix from Rodimus Prime, and then he uses the Matrix to cure the hate plague.
Seems legit.
I'm like kind of shit talking it a bit, but like it's pretty good for GeeWun. Like it's I watched the shit out of it when I was like, 9.
Yeah,
Um,
it was good enough. Damn it.
but anyway, so because like I was really familiar with the hate plague from watching that, and again, and what I just mentioned a minute ago, War for Cybertron Earthrise, the hate plague is even referenced in that, which I thought was really cool.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So when I was watching this earlier, I was like, oh, this is the fucking hate plague from GeeWun. That's actually pretty rad. Unfortunately, they don't really do much with it in this episode, other than basically just make the Maximals bicker, like you said, bicker for 20 minutes.
Yeah. They bicker. They try to fight it. Viacons
Show up.
slice and dice. Silverbolt pulls an emo stunt and flies away.
Yeah, Cheetor goes all fruit ninja on the Viacons.
It was an unusual, yeah. So two motorbike Viacons like stop in front of him, and there's this shot that just shows the front of him, and he takes his two scimitars and he goes
dice, and
he turns to each one and just does that, and then he like sheathes them, and then he like walks away, and then in the background they like fall into 100 pieces, and I'm like,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like we already knew that he could do that. Why did it linger on the shot? And it wasn't cool like ninja, like samurai moves. It was just him doing this.
Yeah. just doing like almost
a
like
Wii Sports game.
Almost like he's doing a drum roll, kind of.
Yeah. If you match that video with the drum roll,
yeah,
it would fit.
Maybe I'll do that sometime. I probably won't.
Yeah, but, Rat Trap tries to attack Cheetor and
I like
blah.
I like Garry Primal's reaction when they're like all bickering and whatnot. And like, because he's trying to be like, okay, so we got to figure out what the fuck Megahead is doing with his like tentacle dicks to the planet,
right?
And they're all like bickering with one another and like shit talking him, and he is basically like, fine, if you guys want to be a bunch of petulant fucking children, I'll go deal with Megatron myself. And I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah, my man, Garry.
Well, I'll go do it. And he does.
Yeah, and he does. And when he does, this is something I actually want to talk about with this episode.
Yeah. He's like falling, and like, instead of just killing him, complex relationship these two have, huh?
You see where I'm going with this.
He catches him in like a giant like tentacle, and like gingerly lifts him up to the head part to talk to him.
To talk to him, and Megatron. So Megatron in his like really cool, like I really like the look of the like his hollow projection of his face. I think it's really rad. It's one of my favorite visuals in this show. I mentioned on a previous episode that it reminds me of Mass Effect 2, the Overlord DLC.
Right.
But so Megatron says to Garry basically that, well, Garry, it seems we want the same thing. Yes. And
harmony.
And Gary's like, yeah, what's that? And he's like, harmony. And what ends up transpiring is this exchange where Megatron is trying to convince Garry Primal and trying to like actually make him see his point. And I'm like, this is interesting, because he's not just trying to spark extract him here. He actually wants to convince Garry Primal. He wants to make him see his point of view and potentially make him join him. I'm like, does Megatron want a husband? Like, does Megatron like want like a companion in his like
or maybe
glorious
maybe
like
he
New
wants
World
the
Order?
Maximals.
It's
maybe he wants to control everyone instead of just destroying them.
Yeah, but
you know how at the end of Mass Effect 3 there's like destroy, control, or synergize.
But he's just been spark extracting people though.
Maybe he has a change of.
But for some reason, Garry Primal, he wants to actually like bring him over to his side. I don't know. Maybe husband wasn't the right word, but
I know what you mean. Like,
I think he just wants like I wonder if he actually just wants a companion of some sort, like a friend.
It's not about
like an equal, like someone.
It's like
to
Joker and Batman.
So someone.
You know how he's like, I don't want to kill you in the Dark Knight. Well,
Yeah.
no. What would I do without you? Right? Like,
you complete me.
No, you complete me. And Batman's like, whoa, hey, you know,
whoa,
got out of a relationship, and
whoa there, jokey
we
boy.
like just met each other.
I told you I wasn't gay, you know.
It's much more than that.
Yeah,
right. It's like life, not partner. It's like life rival, right? Like they need each other, and I'm getting those vibes here.
yeah,
Because he's like, in the conversation, he doesn't torture him, he doesn't try to reprogram him. He's like, we both want the same thing, harmony. Yes, look at how your friends are like shitty, look how chaotic they are. And it cuts to his crystal ball vid windows. He just he can just see where they are at all times, right?
Yeah.
Especially as Megahead. And he's like, look at them. Look at them bickering.
See, the crystal ball thing, like, actually, I actually buy in this world. Like, he is fucking Megahead. He controls the entire planet. Him being able to see anything, anywhere. In Beast Wars, it was comical. In this show, I buy it. It makes sense.
In Beast Wars, there was one time where it showed a drone, and we were like, that's it. He has thousands of drones everywhere, including in the Axelon, just like with live video footage.
Yeah, there's just like fucking thousands of
Microscopic
Scorponok cyber bees flying around everywhere. Just thousands of them all over the planet.
Just some of them stand still. They're inside the Axelon. Some of them are just, I don't know, in mountains sometimes. Yeah, so he's like, look at your friends. Your friends are dumb. They're fighting. It's chaos. They're fighting Viacons. More Viacons are made. They fight more. Like, where are you kind of going? And I'm like, thank you. Where is the show going?
Well, yeah, and so I gotta wonder now. So did Megatron unleash the hate plague? One, like, was this just lying around in a lab somewhere? Did Megatron like? I would like to know how Megatron happened across the GeeWun hate plague, because like he's just like, oh, what's this? Oh, yes, I can use this. And it's really interesting that it seems, stop me if I'm wrong, but it seems like the whole point of him unleashing the hate plague on Cybertron, which it was definitely targeted at the Maximals because there's literally no one else. So he went through all of this just to fuck with what, like 6 people?
That's what I was thinking. I'm like, what? Okay.
Yeah, but he did this just to try to prove a point to Garry Primal.
Not even to destroy them or to make them destroy each other, like to prove a point.
Just to prove a point.
Yeah, I got that too.
And so this is not a great episode overall, but there are nuggets of really interesting stuff going on in this episode.
Yeah. If it was 20 minutes less of Cheetor and Rat Trap going, no, you shut up, and
yeah,
more dialogue between these two, philosophical dialogue, chaos versus law, order, I should say.
I'm with you 100%.
Yeah. There's a part that I find really funny. There's Rocks Fall, the maximal maneuver. They accidentally do it to themselves, but it buries the Viacons. Yeah. Rocks fall and buries everyone, and they start bickering to each other, and Cheetor transforms into his beast mode, and he's in the middle of bickering, and then Viacons kind of get out of the rubble, and they're about to start firing on the Maximals again, and he goes, oh, what was it? It was just there. One sec. 12. Yeah, so he's in his cat form at 12, like 40-ish, and they start shooting, and he turns around, looks surprised, and he goes, oh, and then he turns around and he just keeps talking. So one, he's never been afraid of enemy fire before, so I found that reaction so strange.
Right.
He doesn't transform, and then after, whoa, and then he turns around, he doesn't take cover, he doesn't transform and attack them back. He just continues talking to the Maximals, and I'm like, is this edited weird? What happened there? It reminds me of I was walking downtown one time, and there was a guy waiting at the crosswalk with me, a few people, and he wasn't on his phone or anything like that, and we're walking, and he turns as if a car is like almost coming, and he kind of like moves like that. By the way, as we're walking across the crosswalk, no cars. And he does that, and he goes, oh! And he like fixes his shirt and stuff, and he keeps walking. Wasn't like you know, like a lot of homeless people are mental ill. They fell through the cracks, blah blah blah.
Well, I was gonna ask, like, what kind of drugs was he on?
And that's the thing. Perfectly normal dude, you know, business casual dress, was fine, had a watch, and then just a ghost car almost hit him, and that's what happens to Cheetor. Like he turns and he's like, oh, oh, and then he just keeps talking to Rat Trap like nothing happened. I don't know. Weird thing I thought was like really funny.
I actually missed that bit when I was I was eating while I was watching this episode. So
it's in the middle of them bickering.
Yeah, I must have I must have been like chowing down. Well,
like for instance, I'm watching it now here. After Silverbolt like effed off, he reaches on the back of his neck and pulls off this like little like techno tick. Like, so he finds it. He still has the rage virus, right?
Yeah.
But he just looks up at Megahead and he's like, damn you.
Yeah.
And it's like, who did you think did this? Why is this important to the plot? And they're like, oh, Megatron did this. Oh, well, that changes everything. Who else fucking did it, you morons?
And the I guess, what is it? The knowledge that Megatron was behind this allows
somehow
Silverbolt to snap out of it, I guess.
Here and there, momentarily, yeah. Because Big Bot comes back and the vines grab him and infect him too. And Silverbolt explains everything, that he was infected and he did this and it's his fault and
so
blah, blah, blah.
Just before that, when Garry Primal shows back up and he's trying to talk to the Maximals who are bickering, they start shit talking him, and Rat Trap is like, he's like, yeah, why don't you go on another vision quest or something?
Yeah,
one of my favorite lines in this entire series so far.
Like, is Rat Trap the self insert for us,
the audience?
Why don't you go on another one of your vision quests?
And as you were saying, Silverbolt, like, Garry gets infected, and Silverbolt's like trying to reason with him. Garry Primal says to Silverbolt, he's like, forget seeds of the future. I'm gonna bury you in the past.
Once he's infected?
Once he's infected, yeah. I fucking, like, I cracked up so hard.
Bad trip. Yeah, instead of him talking about like growing seeds in simplicity, forget seeds of the future. I'm gonna bury you in the past. Let's do this.
You got a pretty good roid rage face.
I've seen it a lot. I can do it at, oh man, there's nothing like, you know, a dude in his 40s, you know, like was divorced a couple of years ago, has been hitting the gym, only works on upper body,
Yeah.
right? Like the legs are like the size of my forearm, right? Comes out like, weird, like bunched muscles because he's only doing like front instead of like back exercise too. And he's like high on coke and he's like, oh, fuck you, rent a cop, you want to fight? And I'm like, oh boy, here we go again. So I've bounced and I've done security before. And yeah, there are those guys. They get kicked out of the club for presumably doing said speed. And sometimes words don't work on these people.
willingly infecting themselves with the hate plague.
Can you imagine?
By snorting rails is what you're saying. Confidence
plus 10, but telegraphing your moves. And sometimes you're so confident that you think that you're gonna just like one punch everything. You think you're one punch man. And then you chip a tooth when your face hits the pavement, and you probably won't remember it anyway. Because it's like one of those places where, man, I'm not even going to get into like the details of when and where, but it's one of those places where it's like, oh, Friday, like 1 a.m., the police just park across the street.
Yeah.
Because they're going to nab at least a few people, either trying to get in their vehicles or trying to fight or something stupid.
Right. Speaking of fighting and something stupid, how does this shit get resolved? Like, Silverbolt is able to reason with Garry, right? Am I wrong? Maybe.
So Megahead, I like your reaction there. You're like, maybe, yes. And I'm like trying to think, and I'm like, what? We both watched this, we swear.
Yeah. No,
I swear on the Allspark that we watched the episode, but it's like, how the fuck did this get resolved? Megahead goes
this episode at the time of recording. I watched this episode 2 hours ago, and it's so much of it is just completely out of my head.
So Megahead is like, you're out of time, my Maximal friends. Goodbye. And he powers up the tentacles that are like penetrating Cybertron.
Right.
But before he destroys the planet or makes them more rageful, because he's causing earthquakes, by the way. Did we even mention that? Yeah, earthquakes are causing.
I completely missed the earthquakes, so
that's why they were buried in rubble earlier. And yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And so, man, what is it? Primal is like, we have to like go on a vision quest together.
Okay.
He says, that's it. We've got to work together to reform our neural pathways.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
That's the only way to destroy the virus and cure us.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I completely spacing
whatever
out,
the fuck that means.
I remember that now, because when I was watching this earlier, I was like, really? Because it took the Autobots like reviving Optimus Prime and him retrieving the Matrix and unleashing its power to cure the hate plague. So like, all you guys got it, like Garry Primal talks about like joining the Matrix and shit. Like, why didn't you actually go and find that shit to help with this problem?
So they all hold hands and sitting around in a circle and they sing Kumbaya.
Yeah. I knew you were going with that. They sing Kumbaya.
And
then he's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands.
And well, I mean, Megahead does, and they fall into a chasm
in his tentacles.
And there's a scene, man, I hope you found this, where they're all falling, and Rat Trap grabs onto Cheetor, and Cheetor grabs onto. They all grab onto each other, like a saving roll when you're spelunking in D&D, and
like a daisy chain.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, but falling instead of cracking rocks. And Nightwing tries to grab Rat
Or
Trap,
snorting rocks.
and
Snorting rock.
and
Or smoking it.
he grabs Rat Trap, and at round 19, exactly 19 minutes, it zooms in on Night Scream, and he goes, "Ugh, ugh," and then it zooms in on like holding on to Rat Trap's tail. It zooms in on Rat Trap's like his back, and he looks over his shoulder and he goes, "Ah!" And then it zooms back in Night Scream, and he's like, "Oh," and I'm like, there's no way that like it's only 3 seconds, right? But there's no way that there's not implication there. Like him looking over his shoulder at Night Scream and Night Scream having an O face is, I can't unsee it, and I don't like it. Check it out, folks. It's like 19 minutes in. It's
I missed that when I was watching it
he's
earlier,
like trembling, like, and I'm like, what the fuck, animators? Why did you do this? Like Rat Trap screams in pain and grits his teeth. I'm not even kidding, folks. I don't like it. And like Night Scream's eyes even glow, and he's like, and he's nutting. Anyways, I'm trying to make the episode better, but I'm not making that up. That's definitely a thing in there. Anyways, what are they?
I'll investigate those scenes when I'm looking for episode
Right.
art.
It's at 19 minutes. Anyways, I don't really know what happens, but they literally all touch each other. They all form a daisy chain, and then Primal like passes on his inner peace, and they're fine.
Yeah.
While they're falling, because he's grabbing onto Night Scream, and Night Scream is grabbing blah 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 blah, and they're cured in the air. That's it. It doesn't explain how, really. They all just hold hands and they're good.
Right.
That's why we were confused. Because Optimus, because Primal says some Primal bullshit, and then everything's okay.
Primal says some Oracle bullshit.
Primal says some Oracle bullshit. It's not satisfying.
Yeah, and then the episode kind of just ends.
It kind of just ends because Rat Trap's like, "Oh boy, it's so good to be best friends again." Well, sorta.
Yeah. Welcome back, Silverbolt.
And Silverbolt's like, "But are you sure you're glad to have me back after what I've just caused?" And Primal's like, "Now more than ever, brother." And that's it.
Yeah.
That's the episode. I like that moment.
And then the camera moves to like a shot of Megahead still with the tentacles in Cybertron, and then the episode just ends.
Well, he's withdrawing the tentacles at the very end there. You see Doc Ock things like floating around in the air.
Yeah. And Megatron's like, "Hello, Peter." Yes.
Oh, how I've missed you.
Yeah.
So he's just fucking with them. It's Megahead fucking with the Maximals part 1.
Yeah. Yeah. That was the episode.
A wolf in the fold.
That was episode 5 of season 2 of Beast Machines, A Wolf in the Fold. Here on Too Much Energon, we rate episodes of Beast Wars, Beast Machines, board games, comic books, the Japanese Beast Wars series. At this point, literally whatever the fuck we want to talk about, week in and week out. On the
Energon has to be involved.
On the Too Much Energon scale, it is a 3-point scale. It ranges from not enough Energon to a sufficient amount of Energon to too much Energon. It's basically bad, okay, good. Cal, what are you rating this episode on the TME scale?
Not enough Energon.
You rated it not enough Energon, and the 5-0 are suddenly coming.
They're like, "Hey, boom, 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 boom. Open up. Who's rating who's rating episode of Beast Machines? Not enough Energon."
Boom, 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 boom. This is the Megatron Secret Police. Open up.
Any episode where Megatron is present must be too much Energon.
Yes.
Don't ask why my police sound like Megatron.
Because they're all me. Me,
yeah,
me,
that would be true.
me. Me
Me
too.
too.
Yes.
Can you tell we've been watching The Matrix? I don't. There's no point in even explaining why. It's like it has cool seeds of ideas.
Yeah. Agreed. I'm
but
also giving.
They don't linger on the good parts.
I'm also rating it not enough Energon. The hate plague coming back was cool. Unfortunately,
but they didn't do anything with it.
They didn't really do anything interesting with it. There was some like I mentioned earlier, there were some nuggets of like really interesting ideas. Like the fact that Megatron went through all of this just to prove a point to Optimus Primal. Like
Not
that's
even to destroy the Maximals.
That's kind of interesting. And the fact that he seems to actually want to reason with Optimus Primal now, like, I want to know more about that, but unfortunately the episode doesn't go into any of that. Also, how did he discover the hate plague? Like, was it just in a lab somewhere? Like, I don't know.
Just in a lab somewhere.
I don't know. Yeah, this is not enough Energon. I think this actually might be the worst episode of Beast Machines so far.
Unquestionably, yes. Like it's not like atrocious. Like it wasn't
unwatchable or anything.
In every series, there are like Beast again. Overall, we like Beast Wars more, but Beast Wars has my most hated of episodes, and Beast Machines has not yet matched the level of terrible that some Beast Wars episodes have had.
True, we haven't gone no Energon yet.
That is true. I reserve mine for the inevitable appearance of the Vok and Beast Machines.
Well, I think we still have 8 episodes of Beast Machines left, so
I'm not writing it out.
So it could still happen, damn it.
So there you go.
Yeah, so there you go indeed. Before we start wrapping things up though, we got an email.
Oh, we did.
And I'm going to read this email entirely on its on this episode of Too Much Energon, because
I presume you have their consent.
Yes, I mentioned that I mentioned I sent a response to the person who wrote it, and I was like, hey, thanks for writing in. We'll read it on the next episode of Too Much Energon and respond in depth there. Because I didn't want to like write out like a big response and then just like say the same things on air. I'm like, stay tuned. We'll talk about it on the air. I think that's more fun anyway.
Yes. Yeah. All right.
So we got an email from Josh, a longtime listener. He says, hey there, guys. Wanted to take some time to finally say hi and stuff. Well, hi, Josh.
Hello.
My apologies ahead of time for geeking out. Never be sorry for that sort of thing, my friend.
Never.
After discovering your Beast Wars podcast, I caught up just before you finished the series. Good time to jump in, I think. Kind of bummed I wasn't able to listen along, but oh well. After changing jobs, I lost almost all the time I once had to listen to podcasts, but that's finally changed, and last night I started your newest episode covering Darkest Night, which was the last episode, so he is all caught up. So
bad.
Sweet. Thanks, Josh. He's like, OMG, I forgot about Technorganic Silverbolt with a sideways eyes emoji. he's got a look to him. For sure. He goes on, your podcast is so much fun. Well, thank you. You both do great voices for the characters, which is nice to hear. It's nice to hear after we got told on Twitter that our impressions suck by a couple of guys telling us that, and also trying to invite themselves as guests on our show so they can do the voices.
Impression.
So they can do the voices properly.
I love the show, but you guys suck at the voices. If you have us on, we can do it properly. And it's like, man, I thought that it went without saying that we're doing our own caricatures.
Right. Yeah.
Like we're not
Totally.
we're not actually trying to sound like Rat Trap. Well, that's a little bit more accurate, but like we know Scorponok doesn't sound like this.
Well,
Right?
Cheetor, I'm feeling pretty thirsty over here, so why don't you crack open the CR chamber and grab me a beer?
Bring Uncle Rhinox a beer.
I stash an 8-pack of Lucky in there just for emergency situations.
Yeah.
And like we know like Rhinox doesn't sound like that. It's fun to do that.
It's a natural evolution. Also, it's more fun.
Yeah.
Like it's more fun, but like I also think it's funnier. Like a good impression is like, oh wow, that's really good. But like that wears it out its welcome.
Yeah.
Because if you're reviewing something or you're trying to make jokes about something, that's different than voice acting.
Yeah.
Whereas the funniest shit ever is just our like huge sideways rants where we just like wreck our voices with like fucking like sexy pterosaur and friends, or the dino the raptor bot chronicles, or like fucking like trucker Rhinox. So
Cheetor, what have you done?
what have you done, son? Anyway, so thank you for saying that. We're not just doing it for ourselves. Josh likes it. That's enough for me. Let's go.
So a big heartfelt thank you. It was really nice to read that, especially like right after like we had dudes like weirdly like backhandedly like complimenting us on Twitter, but also our show on Twitter, but also like shit talking our impressions. Yeah, it was weird.
Well, not even like that. It was like, I like everything about the show except the voices.
And I can do them better, so you should have me on your show so I can show you how it's done. It's like, no. Not interested, but I didn't even respond to the guy. Anyway, so Josh continues, I'm turning 37 later this month. Well, happy birthday. You are just slightly younger than I am. I turned 37 early last month, about a month and a half ago, on January 3rd.
Your two like timelines like match almost perfectly as far as like pop culture ingestion goes.
Yeah, totally. He says he watched Beast Wars and Beast Machines growing up. His love of Transformers began with GeeWun. I remember having a VHS of the episode Fire in the Sky that I watched many times. I don't remember that episode. Naturally, I now have GeeWun, Beast Wars, Beast Machines, and Reboot on DVD. Well, I'm almost with you there, Josh. I have Beast Wars, and Beast Machines on DVD. I don't have GeeWun or Reboot, but I had season 4 of Reboot, the Canadian version where it's 2 TV movies, but I gave that I loaned that to my girlfriend who is in the United States.
It looks like Fire in the Sky takes place in the Arctic, and there's snowball fights and the Aurora Borealis and magic Energon crystals.
You ever see the movie Fire in the Sky? It's a movie that came out in the early 90s. It was allegedly about, based on a true story, but it was about a guy who claimed he was abducted by aliens. There's also a song by Swedish death metal band, Hypocrisy, that I really liked when I was a teenager, called Fire in the Sky, because their music is mostly about aliens.
You had my my curiosity, but now you have my attention.
They quite literally have a song called Roswell 47. It's a really good song too. It's one of their more popular tracks.
Nice.
Anyway, he says, side note, I plan to listen to your Reboot podcast next, but Transformers ranked higher for me, and I listened to a Reboot podcast a couple of years ago. Incoming Game, a Reboot rewatch podcast. Check it out. I've heard of that one, yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I would say, if you're only going to listen to one show of ours, I think this is the one.
I clutched my pearls.
Definitely we want you to listen to all of our shows because we put a lot of work into all of them. But if you're gonna listen to just one or at least one first, I think Too Much Energon is the one to go with, especially because it's our first show and it's our longest running show at this point.
It's our journey. It feels like our journey.
Our journey,
and then like
in
the other
podcasting.
things are in addition. To
the other things are in addition, and the other things are kind of the not the fruit of our labors, but like the kind of the this was our show where we've kind of like learned and honed our craft. Whereas like the other shows, especially the Lasercomb podcast, which I think is kind of our most like on point and consistent thing at this point. That was a show that because it's newer, that was a show that we started when we already were at a point where we were very confident and comfortable and capable in what we were doing.
Yeah, agreed. That's us like being more focused and on point, and we know who we are and where we're at, and there's no hiccups here and there. Like Josh knows because he listened from the beginning that like we just like re-recorded the first few episodes of Too Much Energon, right?
Yeah, the first 3 episodes. Yeah. So TME is kind of our it's an interest. It is our baby. This is my favorite show that we do, but it's you get to see our journey as podcasters right from the beginning with this show. So
yeah,
this is definitely a good place to start. So you picked the right show, Josh. But also go check out our Reboot podcast and the Lasercomb podcast because those are really fun as well.
Mm-hmm.
He says, for some reason, I could never seem to watch Beast Wars in order or all of it while it was on the air in the US. I very clearly remember being disappointed that Beast Wars ended, and I was super excited when I saw the promo commercial for Beast Machines with their silhouettes stepping out of the Oracle/Stargate. I made sure I watched every episode and I loved it. Sweet. Our opinion of this episode notwithstanding, we both and you've been listening along, Josh, so you know this. We like Beast Machines as well.
Oh yeah.
Says,
I'm digging it.
He says, I know you guys have been reviewing the IDW Beast Wars comic, and I will listen to it soon, but I wondered how much you plan to cover the other Transformers media. While Beast Wars and Beast Machines are supposed to be originating from GeeWun, it seems that continuity is not exactly their focus. Each series of TV show and comic seems to twist things to their own desires, but I'm just one of those who really values continuity. Unfortunately, you kind of run into that with just any long-running franchise. And actually,
anything from comics, anything from cartoons, it's
I actually not directly, but like kind of related. There was a recent episode of Alphanumeric where I kind of complained about that in the subject of like prequels and like going back and like trying to add lore that didn't previously exist, and
by explaining it badly you kind of just ruin the mystery.
Well, yeah, and by like trying to fill in blanks, like trying to fill in pinhole sized blanks with 2x4s, you end up like you just end up like breaking the narrative. I complained about that on a recent episode of Alphanumeric, so I can't remember which one it is, but it's it's an episode in the 40s somewhere, so if you're interested, go check that out. He says, while the TF wiki can be great to learn more, I've learned quite a bit from Chris McFeely on YouTube. He does a series on the, quote, basics on Transformers from their anatomy, continuity, and characters. That name sounds familiar to me.
I've watched a couple since I've read this email.
Comics in general seem to intimidate me with how much material there is. Oh, yes.
Me too, man.
But there is one Transformers comic line I did read. I thought it was great, especially with the expansion of the universe, lore, and characters from my previous experience. So if you're interested, Transformers More Than Meets the Eye, 2011 to 2016. And then continuing/finishing with Transformers Lost Light. I read them on Comixology. I'll talk about Comixology in a second. In reviewing this, I didn't realize that line is over 80 issues. I bought them as 14 volumes. I understand this could be a substantial undertaking. Yeah, I probably won't. I'm just being honest. I probably won't go and read that, but I do appreciate the recommendation. It's too much for me.
Much Energon.
Especially at my age now.
We only have so much time to ingest and review, and so we gotta what we already like or what we're excited to explore. But it is good to know that if I'm ever like, and the day may come where I'm like, man, I just want to kind of like sit with my iPad in bed, and that if it's 80 issues, like that might be something that I just like kind of scroll through a little bit, like here and there. So
yeah, read over the course of like a month or something.
Yeah, like in bed, going to the bathroom, that kind of thing.
Yeah. He says, moving on, I don't know if you guys get much in the way of fan questions. We've had a few. But here's one, mostly on YouTube. We get asked questions on YouTube quite a bit, much more so than by email.
Yeah, YouTube. It's easy for people. It's like, oh, I can listen to it. I can watch it. I'm already logged in. I can comment on it. It's ease of access seems.
Yeah, we get lots of questions on YouTube. We get lots of questions on Twitter. We get questions on Discord. We get questions on Patreon, but only get a few emails, which kind of disappoints me. I wish more people would email, but whatever. If anyone listening to this wants to email us in, you can do so. TooMuchEnergon@outlook.com, much like Josh just did. He says, moving on, I already read that. Much in the way of fan questions, but here's one of mine. What do you think is the wildest/bananas episode from both Beast Wars and Beast Machines? I asked separately because Beast Wars was goofier than Beast Machines. TLDR, thanks for making the podcast. You guys are great. I look forward to more of what you do. Thanks, Josh. That means a lot, actually. I really appreciate that. To say to answer your question, most bananas episode from Beast Wars, definitely the Low Road. The Looney Tunes episode.
I knew you were going to say that. Yeah.
The episode that I was weirdly dreading for a while, and then when I actually watched it, discovered that it's actually one of the best episodes.
Funniest.
One of the like absolute like laugh out loud, like rolling on the floor, like laughing my fucking face off.
Like all of the jokes
episodes.
aren't the fart jokes, though they're present. They're not overwhelming. But then when there is the big like fart joke, it is funny.
It is actually funny.
Like a famous soundbite.
It's in the intro, and it will forever be in every iteration of the intro. Every iteration of the intro of this show, for the remainder, even if like 10 years from now we're talking about like fucking, I don't know, like Transformers robots in disguise or something like that. That will still be part of the intro. Mark my words. My favorite bit of comedy in that entire episode, it's such a do not fire, I have a hostage. That's close. No, my favorite bit is right before that scene where Scorponok is looking on the computer monitor, and you see like a radar of like the Maximals approaching, and Scorponok is like, here they come, and the three flyers, Inferno, Terrorsaur, and Waspinator, they're all standing side by side, and they all look at one another and nod, and nod at each other, and then look forward and raise their guns and just start firing. But it's just like the fact that they like turn and look at each other and nod and then look back and just start shooting incessantly.
Whoever directed that is, for me, it's Dinobot like walking up with Tarantulas like is unconscious or weakened like body, and he's like, hold your fire, I have a hostage. And again, they all look at each other.
And Megatron's like, why, so you do, and then just blasts them.
And they all fire. And instead of like Dinobot just kind of like tosses Tarantulas's corpse at them and then dives out of the way. And then followed by like bits of pieces of Tarantulas like flying out of like, you know what? I was gonna say anything with Axe Ape. Anything with the proto-humans just screaming with like Garry Chalk being like, whoa! With like fucking like Dinobot's axe. It's just what the fuck is the show even at that point? But
right.
I can't think of a single like wackier. I don't think it's great, but the, like Dino Clone is weird.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna the low road is an unexpected, wacky, joyful. On the bad end, episodes we didn't like, but still very wacky, is the Wild Hunt.
Oh yeah.
When like they're all infected not infected. They're all like suffering from animalism because they can't go to sleep for some reason. And it's like, let the hunt begin. And there's like drums, and he's on like a tribal like little throne, and
with like a safari hat, and
that's an example of it being wacky but bad.
Yeah. We neither of us were fans of that episode. I can't think of a wacky episode of Beast Machines just because the tone is a lot darker.
There are wacky parts in every episode that are in my memory, like rent free forever. And just they're all just little sound bites.
The most bananas thing to me in Beast Machines thus far was the moment that I saw Megahead for the first time.
When two Doomsday weapons were activated at once, and Garry Primal came back from the dead for the third time. Yeah.
Sure. Let's say that.
But like Megahead was just like, you know what? No, Megahead being inside of a werewolf, Megatron being inside of a werewolf,
that turns into a dragon.
That whole arc, and then he exits and goes inside of Megahead. That is bananas. That is wild.
Yeah, I remember mentioning.
So yes, I agree with you.
I remember mentioning in the podcast, like in the lead up to season 2, because I had watched ahead a little bit. I'd watched like the first 4 episodes of season 2. I remember telling you that, like, man, this show is going to go in places you cannot predict.
Brace yourself, because
fucking
boy, oh boy,
fucking werewolf that turns into a dragon, fucking Megahead. Megatron's head just floating in the sky. So for me, Megahead, the mere existence of Megatron as a giant floating head flying above Cybertron, that is like the wackiest shit that I've seen, the most bananas thing in Beast Machines thus far.
And to piggyback off of that, Megatron pretending to be a Maximal werewolf dragon is the wackiest shit ever for me.
Yeah.
Besides like Jetstorm and Thrust's identity being revealed, that's up there.
Oh, you know what? Oh, I got one more actually. Thanks for bringing that up. The implication that Waspinator, after he got kicked off of prehistoric Earth, just flew through space for 4 million years to get back to Cybertron,
and is somehow mentally just fine.
The implication that he just like went to beast mode and he was like, oh, well, Waspinator has a long journey ahead of him.
And he just flew through space all the way back to Cybertron.
for 4 million years, and it took him 4 million years to get there.
Yeah, that's wacky fun.
That's
there you
pretty,
go.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks again for writing in, Josh. Means a lot. We appreciate the email.
Yeah,
for
sure, definitely.
So that was episode 74 of Too Much Energon. Best way to support the show, mention Patreon. Go to patreon.com/lazorcomb, LAZORCOMB. We're starting at the $5 and up tier. You get hours each and every week of bonus preamble audio of this and all of the shows that we do week in and week out. We're doing 3 podcasts a week consistently right now, and each one of them, like the preamble, is at least a half hour long each time, sometimes upwards of an hour. Sometimes the preamble ends up being longer than the actual episode proper.
It happens.
It's happened quite a few times, actually.
Yeah.
You also get our a new spin off of the preamble called What Are You Watching? Which is basically just where we talk about, like, there's no real like format to it or anything. It's kind of just us talking about what we watched recently, movies or TV shows. And you also get a monthly-ish commentary track where we talk over movies of our choosing. There are 6 of those out right now. 4 of them are dedicated to Matrix movies, including the newest one. At the $10 tier, you get our weekly news and current events program, Lasercomb Tonight. We didn't record one of those last week, but we're going to be recording one of those this week. So stay tuned for that. Also, I mentioned the Lasercomb podcast. If you're a $10 patron, the Lasercomb podcast is a show where we watch a random episode of a TV show, whether we've seen it or not. And if you are a $10 and up patron, you get to pick a show for us to do.
Oh, yes.
We've done quite a few patron sponsored episodes of the Lasercomb podcast, and it's been a wild ride. Haven't liked all of them, but they've all been interesting in their own rights.
Oh yeah,
definitely. So if you want to get in on that, go to patreon.com/lasercomb. Social media, you can follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/lasercomb. Once again, LAZORCOMB. Central hub for this and all of the other shows that we produce week in, week out. On Twitter, you can follow the show proper at Too Much Energon, or you can follow me. I am at Lasercomb. And Cal, you are at?
I am at NeoCal, NEO_KAL.
We will be back next week with episode 75. Dun dun dun. It's a milestone number. Episode 75 of Too Much Energon, where we will be talking about the 6th episode of the 2nd season of Beast Machines.
Oh shit. Home soil.
Home soil.
It says a spaceship crashes on Cybertron, so I'm pretty stoked for that.
Yeah, spaceship crashes, not a stasis pod. Something new.
Oh shit.
I've seen this episode, so I don't remember it vividly, but I remember who is in that ship, is what I will say.
I can only presume all of the missing characters we haven't seen yet.
Yeah, they're all just gonna come piling out, even the ones who are dead.
Hopefully, we can dream.
And they're all going to combine into a mass Magna Boss.
Please no.
The spaceship door opens and all of a sudden it's just like Lio Jr.
That would be, oh man, that would be wild. That would be wacky if Japanese Beast Wars just appeared in Beast Machines. I mean, again, I can't predict what will happen, but
it's safe to say it's probably not that, but that would be a lot of fun.
That would be a lot of fun. Our fan fiction.
So keep an eye out for that next week, episode 75 of Too Much Energon. In the meantime, it's getting late, so we're gonna get out of here. I've been one of your hosts, Christopher Siege.
And I'm NeoCal.
And until next week, I am transformed.
I am transformed.
No, I am transformed.
No, I am transformed.
No, I am transformed.
No, I'm Spartacus.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Beast machine.